tonight. Lows dip down to about 63. Partly cloudy skies. Get weather anytime by calling 824-6101 or online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Currently, it's 61 degrees.
WTIM.
Good morning. This is Leroy Kamola with your Expand Local newscast. Current news time is 8:06. It is June 5th, 2025. In the wake of the deadly tornado that struck an Amazon warehouse in Edwardsville back in December of 2021, Illinois lawmakers are taking action to improve worker safety during severe weather. The Illinois Senate has passed the Warehouse Tornado Preparedness Act, a measure sponsored by Senator Christopher Belt of Swansea. Says the law is designed to close serious gaps in emergency planning at large warehouse facilities.
In December 2021, an EF3 tornado tore through an Amazon warehouse in Edwardsville. 6 workers lost their lives. Those men and women were doing what thousands of Illinoisans do every single day, showing up for work. They deserve better protection, and their families deserve to know we're doing something about it. House Bill 2987 is about learning from the past. It's about honoring those that lost their lives by making sure no other family has to endure the same kind of loss.
Under the legislation, warehouse operators will have 120 days from the law's effective date to submit tornado safety plans for each facility. Those plans must include evacuation routes, shelter locations, emergency supply inventories, and post-disaster procedures. Required supplies include food, water, first aid kits, and tools for communication. The bill also requires new warehouses to meet stricter construction standards for tornado safety. Starting in 2027, building inspectors must hold special certifications from the International Code Council based on their area of inspection. Senator Belt says the legislation is meant to honor the lives lost in the 2021 storm and prevent future tragedies. House Bill 2987 now heads to the governor's desk. The Illinois State Police are now using a new state-of-the-art command vehicle as part of its law enforcement efforts. The new vehicle is a 2025 Freightliner, and it replaces a vehicle used for 18 years. The Freightliner has high-definition cameras and monitors, more modern communication technology, real-time data access, and even slide-outs to create a makeshift conference room. The ISP will use this as a central hub for emergencies such as natural disasters, large-scale accidents, public events, and search and rescue operations. They will also bring it out for display at community outreach events and safety demonstrations. Brendan F. Kelly, ISP Director, says the vehicle will ensure the best technology available to them can be stationed where it's needed most. The Office of Radiological Security under the U.S. Department of Energy provided the command vehicle. The American Red Cross is encouraging people to become trained to give CPR and use an automated external defibrillator, or AED, to save lives. This comes during National CPR and AED Awareness Week, which runs from June 1st through the 7th. The American Red Cross notes that more than 350,000 people in the U.S. each year experience a cardiac arrest away from a hospital. In around 90% of those instances, the person does pass away. The Red Cross says that if CPR is given immediately to someone in a cardiac arrest, it doubles their chances of survival. Kelly O'Connell, CEO of the Illinois Red Cross, says their training gives people the skills and confidence to intervene when seconds count. In 2024, more than 4.5 million people took the Red Cross's training courses on first aid, CPR, and AED. Springfield Clinic's expanded walk-in hours are making quick medical care easier to access for patients in the area. They are now open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday to better accommodate common work schedules in the area. The wide range of offerings is leading to an increase in visits, but it can also create confusion over where to go for any given need. Crystal Wingirter, a nurse practitioner at Springfield Clinic, says the walk-in clinic is wise for new short-term concerns not involving pre-existing prescriptions or care plans.
So again,
walk-in is similar to urgent care. I'm seeing acute things, sore throats, runny nose, headaches, rashes, things like that. I do have patients come in sometimes and they'll be like, my blood pressure has been running high for the last couple of weeks and they're already on blood pressure medications. Those kinds of things is more a primary care. That is because I typically do not adjust medications in the walk-in clinic. That is a primary care provider's job to do that. It's just safer that way because they know their patients. I don't know the patients. So it's harder for me to really know that patient and know what's right for them as far as adjusting medication. So or another thing, sometimes patients will come in, I've had back pain for a year. And they're already seeing ortho, they're already doing physical therapy. I mean, those kinds of things, those are chronic conditions. Those are things that they should be going to their primary care for.
As an example, Wingert presents a hypothetical case of chest pain. The extent and source of the condition do play a role in deciding where the patient should go, but staff at the walk-in clinic can provide further guidance.
Chest pain's a big thing. Most of my nursing background is cardiology, cardiac. So, I mean, I know how to deal with chest pain, but I'm limited to what I can do at the walk-in clinic. So chest pain's a big one. If you're having chest pain, heart palpitations, you need to go next door to the ER. Obviously, if you show up at my walk-in clinic, I'm going to see you or my nurse is going to see you. We're going to triage you appropriately. So you can always come see me if you're not sure, but chest pain's a big one. Sometimes like severe abdominal pain, that's another one because you're going to need imaging if you're having severe abdominal pain. But again, if you come to my walk-in, I'm going to see you. I'll triage you as needed.
Even for visits to the walk-in clinic, staff must occasionally consult with others to ensure that they can provide the most ideal care for their patients.
Oh, absolutely. So we have Dr. Gill and Dr. McClintock there at the clinic. A lot of these patients are their patients, so they're their primary doctors. I will say you don't have to have a primary care provider at Springfield Clinic to come to see me. Even if you're not a patient of ours, if I have a question about something, if I'm not sure about something, I always go to either Dr. Gill, Dr. McClintock, or Dr. DeLuca and Dr. Kink in pediatrics. So there's always somebody, and I'm the type of person that I know what I don't know. I'm not going to try to pretend like I know, and I will ask questions. So if I'm not sure about something, I always ask for a second opinion on what to do.
Warmer weather means more outdoor activities. Now is a good time of year to be reminded to apply sunscreen every hour and a half and to watch for poisonous plants in gardens and nature trails.
Even if the sun's not shining, it is still, those UV rays get through the clouds, so you can still get a sunburn. I've seen some pretty gnarly sunburns last summer. I mean, we're talking like blisters on people. So sunblock, you always reapply every hour and a half. Sunblock is big. And then another thing, this time of year, people go out and work in their gardens, and I see a lot of like poison ivy, poison oak. So just make sure when you're outside, wear the long sleeves, make sure you're washing your hands really good when you come back in, change your clothes, take a shower. Those oils that are on those plants that cause the contact dermatitis can stay on those surfaces and those clothes for several months.
More information on Springfield Clinic is available online at springfieldclinic.com or by calling 217-287-8855. Crystal Wingerter appears as a guest on the WTIM Morning Show. Where you plant a tree is important, not just for how your yard looks, but also for functionality, especially when it comes to overhead power lines. Ameren, Illinois continues to be on the lookout for problem tree branches that may be too close to power lines that could cause issues if they fall. Rick Johnson is the manager of vegetation management at Ameren, Illinois, talking a little bit about the Ameren tree trimming cycle and just how important it is to houses, to vegetation, and to the people that live there.
So we have a 4-year trim cycle and a 2-year mid-cycle patrol. And what we do is that we take a look at trees and vegetation, vines, etc., that we feel may hinder safe and reliable service to our customers. So every 4 years, we patrol the entire circuit and we trim the trees as needed. That adversely or potentially adversely affecting the reliability of our facilities. During the mid-cycle, we patrol the line. And if we come across a tree that we don't feel is going to make it for another 2 years, then we'll go ahead and address it. If it's within an unsafe distance, we'll address it as well, because we like to keep a good distance between the tree and the line. So whenever a wind event kicks up, ice, snow, things like that, the chances of it falling and affecting the line are minuscule.
Johnson is in charge of nearly 32,000 miles of lines that they're responsible for, with 8,000 miles of trees taken care of in that capacity. If you are an owner and are concerned about trees being too close to the property, call 1-800-755-5000.
So if you have concerns about trees that may be too close to our facilities, we encourage people to call our 1-800 number. This is located on your bill. It's 1-800-755-5000. Or people can also visit AmerenIllinois.com. And then that will get our people in touch with the customer, and we'll make a site visit and discuss the situation and concern with the customer. If we feel like it can hold until we're there for the next cycle trim, then we'll state that. But if it's something we feel that we need to address immediately, then we'll get a tree crew out there and address it.
When planting trees, Johnson encourages you to make sure you plant the right tree at the right place.
Right. The big thing that we wish people to adhere to is to plant the right tree at the right place, right? And so it's very important when you're selecting your tree or your shrubbery, that you keep a safe distance away from the power lines. What I ask people to do is, and everyone's guilty of this, you go to your nursery and you find a tree that you like, take the time and read the tag, and if there is no tag, talk to someone there at the nursery, talk to an arborist, anyone that's a tree expert, to try to get an idea what that tree is going to do at maturity, because it might be small now, but over time it could get very large and outgrow its space that's intended for the purpose, to plant the tree or the shrub.
Above all else, make sure you be safe around power lines. Plan ahead when it comes to planting those trees.
Just to adhere to right tree, right place. Any questions, it's always best to ask an expert, before making an investment and putting the wrong tree in the wrong place. Just be safe. Be careful for down power lines. During we've been experiencing a lot of the tornadoes this year. A lot of down lines, consider every line to be live. I also encourage folks that have fences, to be sure to not grab onto that aluminum fence, that we have a lot of times. Because if a line touches that fence could be energized and people can get hurt. So, just be aware of your surroundings, your situation in those storm events.
For more tree planting tips, visit this story online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Illinois Comptroller Susanna Mendoza promoting the Bank on Illinois program. It's intended for those that don't have access to a traditional bank or credit union account. More information on this program and others at illinoiscomptroller.gov. Click on the Constituent Services tab for all of the latest from Susanna Mendoza. Several ag items getting attention during the recently completed spring session of the Illinois General Assembly. Illinois Farm Bureau Director of State Legislation, Chris Davis, has a rundown. The spring session wrapped up prior to midnight last Saturday. This portion of your Expand Local News brought to you by TCCU.
Hi, this is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. When you become a member of TCCU, you become an owner and have access to our great loan rates, earn great dividends on our deposit accounts, have access to our full range of financial products, and will receive personal attention from people you know. Membership is open to anyone who lives or works in Christian, Montgomery, and Shelby County. We are conveniently located in Taylorville, Hillsboro, Litchfield, and Pana. You can also visit us online at www.tccu.org. Come join us. You'll wonder why you waited. Member NCUA.
Now, time for a look at obituaries today. 93-year-old Jean Marie Wadelet of Stonington died June 3rd. Visitation is tomorrow from noon till 2 at Holy Trinity Catholic Church in Stonington, with funeral services to follow shortly thereafter. Burial will be at Old Stonington Cemetery. McClure Funeral and Cremation Services in Taylorville in charge of the arrangements. 101-year-old Francis M. Prey of Hillsboro, formerly of Coffeen, died May 29th. Visitation is June 7th from 10 to 11, with funeral services to follow. South Fork United Methodist Church in Nokomis. Burial will be at Kettle Camp Cemetery. Sutton Funeral Home in Nokomis is in charge of the arrangements. 77-year-old Sherry Lee McCullough of Taylorville died May 25th. A celebration of life will be made at a later date. McClure Funeral and Cremation Services in Taylorville in charge of the arrangements. 82-year-old Glenn Neal of Taylorville died May 29th. Funeral arrangements handled by Schaefer Perfetti and Sally Funeral Home in Taylorville. And finally, 76-year-old Joseph Eugene Breaux of Taylorville died May 30th. Visitation is June 9th from 4 to 7. And McClure Funeral Home in Taylorville. Burial will be at a later date in Anderson Cemetery in Palmer. McClure Funeral and Cremation Services in Taylorville in charge of the arrangements. For this obituary and all other obituaries, visit our obituary section online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Local news every hour on WTIM, your only local news radio, and also by visiting us online at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Here's Cousin Bill from Illinois Paving.
Asphalt seal coating season is here. Are you tired of sealing that asphalt driveway every year? Cousin Bill has a polymerized